Hey, school success makers. Welcome to another edition of the School Success Podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Slater, and today we're going to do something new that we've actually never done before. We're going to try it out and see how it goes. We kind of finished our mini series where we're going through things that you guys can do to help with enrollment, since we're obviously right in the middle of enrollment season. But then we've had some just great episodes in the past, and we've had over 100 episodes for the School Success Podcast, which is just awesome. So many great people, great interviews, and just great things that I've learned, and I know you guys have learned as well. So we're going to try something. We're going to do some episodes with just highlights of the different things we've learned from the different guests we've had on, and we're going to try and piece a few of them together for each week, so you guys can kind of get a recap of some of the biggest takeaways, the biggest moments that we've had on the podcast. So that's what we're going to do. So a little different, but I hope you guys enjoy and get some little nuggets from the episodes that you can, again, as always, take back to your school to make it better than it is right now. So please enjoy this week's highlights and episodes from past episodes on the School Success Podcast. Enjoy.
Time for school.
The differentiated learners, the way Montessori fits in for all different ways that the brain thinks and how we're already pre-wired, it just spoke volumes to me, and my eyes were wide open, and I had never experienced anything like that. Being able to help children in remediation and see how the materials fit in for different ways to learn really helped, and all of the tracking and everything.
It's a different world when you're in private education, right? Because you can dictate a little bit more of how you're going to structure your environment, your school environment, your student body, your staff, what you want to teach, what you're not going to teach, especially faith-based, right? I mean, that's what I'm seeing as I've shifted into faith-based education.
The Montessori approach really stemmed from Dr. Maria Montessori. She actually was the first woman physician that graduated from the University of Rome in the late 1800s. Her entire dynamic that followed just became a worldly philosophy where she wanted to bring the world to the children, help them understand real world concepts, make child-sized furniture, and create these materials based on the brain development in response to what the children were craving and needing and asking for. And these formative years became so important that now these materials that I was expressing to you earlier that are found worldwide have to be implemented and utilized by trained teachers so that they're serving the purpose that she intended for them.
Engaging students is one of the most critical areas. We can't educate the way we used to, right? I mean, the old kind of stand and deliver, the old kind of chalk and talk, and the ways that many of us, even just a generation ago, grew up learning, right? We tend to teach the way we learned, and it doesn't work with this generation. And so we have to be more conscious of engaging. We have to be more. They have to feel more stake in the game.
Hey, school success makers, just a really quick break from the episode to highlight our amazing sponsors over at America's Christian Credit Union. They are celebrating 65 years of service this year, and they provide essential school banking services and a tuition financing program for schools looking to reduce their risk and administrative burden. And you guys can find out all about them on their website, americaschristiancu.com/schools. That's americaschristiancu.com/schools. They are amazing over there, and I always like to say, if you're a school that collects tuition and you have a hard time collecting all of tuition at the end of the year, maybe it comes around May, June, you're like, man, we only got collected 95 or 98% of what tuition was owed to our school. One of the things you can do is have your parents get a tuition financing loan through the credit union, and then they pay the credit union directly, and you get your funds up front at the beginning of the year as the school. So you don't have to chase people throughout the year, and you can focus on what you do best, and that is loving and educating your students. And it doesn't cost your school anything to do it. So check them out online, americaschristiancu.com/schools. All right, back to the show.
I have to say some of the most important aspects that one would get out of attending a Montessori school, it helps children gain a sense of independence, a sense of order, concentration, coordination. It really fosters individuality. And that, I think that's one of the main differences between a daycare center and a Montessori learning school.
I've always been one as a school leader that has prioritized culture and communication and relationships. And that goes beyond just the staff. It also involves the students. I would run student advisories, and my student advisories would always include a variety of representation from our student body. So it would never just be your elected, most popular students. You'd be drawing from kind of every facet of your school, every ethnicity, gender, interest level, extroverts, introverts, right? To get the finger on the pulse. Because if we want to know how to reach students, we've got to talk to students. We've got to find out what they're going through and how can we help them.
How far do Montessori children go, and what happens to them? Let's say what happens to them when they mainstream into a public school setting or any different type of environment once they're already trained, or let's just say fostered from early childhood. So the whole key is that whatever concepts that any child encounters or takes in from birth to 6, let's say during the formative years, is going to take them into their adulthood, and it will resonate and be internalized as their foundation and create the kind of person that they're going to become.
My philosophy has always been, and it was probably the way I operated even before I was at a faith-based school, but I call it grace with accountability, right? Honestly, parenting is the same way. And in terms of working with clients, like we talk about this often too, about the struggles they have as parents. Grace with accountability. I mean, we're not going to ever stop loving our children, right? And our students are the same way. But it doesn't mean that even, as you said in the phrase, to be their friend. Like, to be their friend doesn't have to mean that you let them get away with everything.
Hey, school success makers, just a really quick break to highlight one of our amazing sponsors, and that is ClassReach. Now, ClassReach supports schools of all sizes from application to graduation. Take charge of your school with ease, power, and mobility using ClassReach, the school management software administrators and teachers love using. You can get your free demo at classreach.com. That's classreach.com. They are amazing people, and they provide this amazing SIS software for you to keep track of your students' grades, communicating with families that are enrolled, and a whole bunch more. So again, check it all out on their website, classreach.com. They are awesome. All right, now back to the show.
It's really our job to share with them as much knowledge as we can, and there's just no boundaries. That's what I love about Montessori. There's just no boundaries and no curriculum that is predetermined. Every day is different. When you walk in, you can't almost plan for what's going to occur in the day. The children and their decisions and their choices and their freedom of movement is what causes the day to occur, and then we respond to them. So it's very child-centered.
Even in a faith-based school, I think people tend to think that sending a child to a faith-based school, a Christian school, or any other faith-based school is going to solve all the issues that they may have had in a public school environment. And I actually welcome those conversations at times, because I had 25 years in public schools before I retired and went a different direction. And I said, last time I checked, the same kids that are in public school are the same kids that are in private school, and the key is that they're kids, right? So it's not what they do or what they say, it's how we respond to them that's the key.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that recap of some of the past episodes we've had on the podcast. And as always, I'm just hoping that you guys can take at least one thing away from any of these episodes that you can take back to your school to make your school better than it is right now. There's so many great things inside of these podcast episodes that we're hoping you guys can take back and use. So if you need to, go back and scan through some of the episodes. You can read through them and see some of the different people we've interviewed, the topics that we've talked about, and maybe you can grab something from there that maybe you're currently in the middle of, or you're going through, or you're just wanting some extra help or guidance on. Great way to kind of scan back through and look at the podcast. But hoping you guys kind of enjoy these kind of quick recap episodes. And as always, I've mentioned it before, we have 3 great free resources, 3 great free resources for you guys to check out. The first one, of course, is what you're listening to right now. It is the podcast. It's free, weekly episodes coming out that we want you guys to make sure you're chiming into and listening to and soaking in. The second one, we have a great Facebook community that we want you guys to make sure you're a part of, completely free. And it's called School Success Makers. So if you're on Facebook, go join in there. I'm personally in there. Love to see you in there as well. Or you can ask questions, connect with some different school leaders that are in there from all over the world. And then the last and last one of all of that is our School Success Report, which you can sign up for on our website currently, schoolsuccessmakers.com. In the top right-hand corner, you can click the button School Success Report. It is a weekly email that will go out, just kind of going over different articles that our team has written, highlighting some teachers, giving some articles and ideas that we have come across that we want to make sure you guys are seeing as well. So make sure you're getting that every week. Some great content that the team has prepared so we can put it out there for you guys to check out. And as always, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or ideas, we want to hear from those, and we want to hear from you with those. So please contact us through our website, schoolsuccessmakers.com, and let us know those so we can better serve you guys. And we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back here next week with another awesome episode as usual on the School Success Podcast. We'll see you then.